That was my fault. They can hear us now. Hi, everybody. Now you can hear us. Okay. Isaiah, go
okay. So Isaiah,
that was my
start from
fault. That was
beginning.
100% my fault. Thanks for watching the chat, by the way.
Yeah.
And reminding me.
You
I
guys-
didn't turn on the sound. That's my fault. I've
You
only
guys-
been doing this for what, 15 years? Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Isaiah. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so I was this kind of goes back to my ask away question from Friday about how do you have like how do you convey like sincerity when you're dealing with different people that are going through things that you're not going through.
Yeah.
And so I go to this market where the boss where the boss is a Palestinian guy. And I sometimes like wonder like how does he like go through life knowing that there are people who literally think he should be killed because he's Palestinian, because he's a Muslim. Like how does someone, and I guess I'm asking this question as someone who has kind of been through this, but no one's ever wanted to kill all black people though.
Oh, there's some people that do want to kill all black
There are
people.
some people, but it's just like
Not organized in the way that we're seeing
Yeah.
right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And hopefully
Yeah.
never does. God help us
how,
if it
how,
does.
how do I like tell this person that
Don't.
like,
My take on it, sorry, I wouldn't, but I would be a
Yeah.
friend to them. If you see them being down, whatever, I think the best thing to happen is like, hey, I'm here, whatever you need, let them go. I think sometimes the best thing is just to listen, you know?
Yeah.
Just to be
Yeah,
there.
just
If
listen.
you
Yeah.
can't say, I know what you're going through, is you don't want to say, I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
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 You know, you can say, I empathize with what you're going through.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
that's sure.
I just want him to know that all Americans don't support this.
Yeah.
Well,
that's right.
hopefully he knows that. I mean, but
Yeah.
If the court-
the way you phrased it just now, Isaiah, it made a connection in my brain to when we were in one of my college courses. We were reading W.E.B. Du Bois, and he wrote an essay, of course, speaking to the black experience in early 20th century America at the time. And he said, whenever a white person and a black person are having a conversation, the unasked question hanging in the air on the part of the white person to the black person is, how does it feel to be a problem? And that's kind of like, you know, because like even if the conversation isn't about racism and inequality and discrimination, you know, the well-meaning white person is always thinking like, I wonder what, you know, are they okay, or what do they think, or what should I say, or, you know, about what should I say to let them know I'm on their side, or what should I say to empathize, or should I ask them to talk about it? You know, it's always, even if nobody says it, it's always present. And I imagine that's probably the case for your Palestinian friend too.
And I'm also gonna like add to that because I actually just watched this on Daria, which is like an animated like an animated show from the 90s.
Yeah.
Most of us are old enough to remember Daria.
We remember Daria.
There was Daria with like I don't remember like the black female character's name, but she's like one of the reoccurring casts, and they were like having this conversation about, you know, she has to be like the magical female Negro in her community, and and Daria sometimes likes that free expression that I forgot her name, the black woman's name. So like I saw that I saw like something similar in a conversation that those two fictional characters were having in a late 90s comedy, like not comedy, but a late 90s cartoon about, you know, young adults. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like other people have said, I think the best thing is just to be kind to the guy, you know, just in general. And, you know, there's no need to try and specifically bring, you know, his experience as a Palestinian person.
Well, I mean,
in this shit show.
don't.
Yeah. I know, but yeah.
I think you can communicate. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
It's all right.
Please.
I think you can also communicate a lot just simply by making eye contact. And I know for some of us that's difficult, but you can really communicate a lot just by catching their eye.
Yeah. Just letting someone know that you see them and you know, and that you're hopefully you show by your behavior, you know, hey, you know, I'm on your side. You can be cool with me, you know, like I'm not thinking whatever other people are probably thinking about you, unfortunately. You know,
I am so lucky I lived in the Middle East for 20 years because I interacted with Arabs and other nationalities for pretty much almost all of my time there. And not once did I think, you know, how does it feel to be part of the problem? Think of, you know, how people think, oh, I'm a white person, this is the black person's inferior. Flip it around, because in the Middle East, it is most definitely flipped around.
Right.
The white people are there at the sufferance of the Arabs, and you will behave yourself or you will be summarily escorted onto a plane. My mum worked for a company where one of the Indians, because they employ a lot of Indians, one of the Indians had been caught embezzling funds from the safe and had sold half the office furniture. So when my mum walked in that morning, there were just the headphones and the monitors sitting on the floor. How he'd not managed to get the monitors out and the headphones out, I don't know, but he'd sold everything over the weekend. And he was summarily found and escorted onto a plane back to oh God, what's the capital of it?
New Delhi?
He was on a plane back to New Delhi within 2 days.
I think
with legal papers to the police.
Apart from the deportation, it's amazing how like so much of that stuff sticks with you though through the years. Because like my folks, having been Iranian immigrants, and moved here in the 60s, mind you. Like my mom to this day still gets set off by some things that she finds to be impolite that are just normal in American society. And certainly, you know, she's acclimated a bit to some of that, but like she still hasn't been able to expand that to like the difference in politeness, like that, you know, what is considered polite in East Asian society or in South Asian society.
I think I told you guys a story, and I think some of you.
Okay, hang on. Let me before you get off on a long story. Isaiah was gonna say something in response to CMAC.
I was just asking CMAC what were like the differences in politeness that did his mom like notice when she was in the States?
I mean, one thing is like a cleanliness thing. We're very conscious of washing after pretty much anything. Like just to not get too graphic, but like people keep like a bucket of water, usually like over the spigot next to the toilet, so that you can actually wash yourself, not just wipe yourself. So like that sort of thing. I mean, that one obviously she got over, but that's an example of something.
Yeah.
Isn't there a big thing about using which hand? Like if you use your left hand to touch somebody and things like that.
Within Muslims certainly. That's not so much with my family, but yeah, that's certainly a thing.
Yeah, in Muslim societies, you'll often see young men walking hand in hand, and it doesn't mean they're gay. It means they're friends, and you have to be very aware that if you see two men walking the streets hand in hand, it doesn't mean that they're going off some clandestine corner to shack up. They're just friends, and you'll find.
So 1979, my cousins, on my mom's side and my dad's side, who are, mind you, 17 and 16 years old, have migrated to the U.S. My grandfather is visiting from Iran. This is just prior to the revolution, mind you. So he's staying in a hotel in Boston. He says to his son and his friend, essentially, my mom's side of the family's, kid, he's like, why don't you come in and stay? I've got 2 double beds. You guys can stay in one bed. I'll stay in the other. And for Iranian kids, that wasn't a big deal.
No.
However, my grandfather was also a Muslim who got up at 5 a.m. and would pray, and then would also make his bed, even if he was staying in a hotel. And then he left. And they didn't hear the housekeeper knocking on the door. And she comes in there's one bed perfectly made and 2 teenage boys in the other bed.
Oh God.
In
Oh my.
1978, when they barely
It's
speak
like,
English.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like I think I told some of you, I don't think you've heard it, Mac, but there was a young man when I was at university, he was 18, 19, name of Ahmed, and he was doing Islamic studies and in sort of the theology section. And I remember this one guy who I'm really glad he got sent down for trying to access porn on the university computers. Yeah, he was really weird. He was really, really, really Christian and really weird, but still accessing porn and thought he could speak in tongues and all the rest of it. Why I meet the weirdos, I don't know. Anyway, we're sitting having a drink. We're both having soft drinks because I didn't drink much of the time. I still don't. And he comes rushing in, stands there, red face, and says, "Why the hell don't you lot go back to where you came from?" And Ahmed looks him up and goes, "What? Bristol?" And he stands there getting red. I mean, I swear I could see the vein pulsing at the side of his head. And he kind of went, and ran out. And I turned to Ahmed and I said, "I think he meant." And Ahmed gave me this really cold look and said, "I know exactly what he meant."
I'm sure he knew exactly what the guy meant. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And that kind of brought it home to me that people can be so really, really thoughtless, even in my neck of the woods.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I have heard a story of someone on a bus saying, "You're in England, speak English." To which they replied, "We're in Wales and we're speaking Welsh."
So,
okay. No,
okay, wait a minute. Okay, now there's like 5 more people with their hands up. So here's what we're gonna do. Okay, people have their hands up. I'm gonna let the people who have their hands up say what they need to say. If you want to respond to something that they just said, that's fine. But if your response is going to be like a 10-minute story, maybe just hold on to that. Maybe just wait.
Fair.
Okay, so we can hear from everybody. Okay, so Joe is next, so go for
it. Looping back into something connected to the Stanford prison experiment, which, is definitely a thing that there's no real ethical way to reproduce, so you can't really go into that, but a kind of connected idea is like the Lord of the Flies sort of scenario.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because there's been some talk at, like, people have investigated groups of people that are stranded because, it happens sometimes. Planes crash and boats, stuff happens. Yeah. And the groups that, like most groups, don't fall into that sort of thing. And ironically, the only real group that does is like the children of privilege from boarding schools, or the people who have grown up in that environment because of the socialization to be and get as high up in hierarchy as they possibly can, and everyone, and undermining other people to advance themselves in that way, as opposed to cooperating when cooperation is necessary. And that's, I don't know, it's just such a fun, like, rider onto that it's just people that are taught to be the heads of things.
Yes,
there's a lot of results. I think there's like a belated realization in social psychology that a lot of results that were previously believed to be like general truths of the human condition and human mind are just like truths about elite university undergraduates. Which, like, we do this stuff for free.
It's one of the reasons why The Great Escape was such a spectacular failure, because most of the people who escaped were sort of the upper class. They had no clue how to cope as normal, sort of bottom of the rung people in the outside. If you're going to escape from prison reform camp, the one thing you have to do is not stand out, and they stood out like stuck thumbs. But I was really going to say that the Wales thing, I think I told you this, when we went to the States, and I said, "Oh, my dad's from Wales." "Oh, you can't be from Wales. You can't make up countries." "What?" I said, "But what about the Prince of Wales?" No, that's not a country. He's the Prince of Wales." And I said, "What, you think the Queen, because she had the royal yacht," I said, "What, you think the Queen takes him out? You think the Queen took him out on the yacht, the royal yacht, after he was crowned at Carnarvon, and all the whales came up out of the sea and bowed to him?"
The British royal family is really into, making sure that the whales know their place.
Hey, Britannia did used to rule the waves. I'm just saying.
That's fair.
They don't get attacked by orcas.
Just go.
Exactly. They're not exactly. They're not getting their yachts aren't being smashed. I'm just saying.
And the worst of it was, she then nodded, but of course my brother, being a little bit of a sod, turned round, and when we lived near Lake Havasu, he told everybody at the school we went to that my dad took camels to work.
Yeah.
Oh, we went on a donkey cart. God give me strength.
Well, you do have to be careful because, Prince of Wales, there's an actual place called Wales, but that doesn't work for Prince of Tides.
It was also a battleship that engaged the Bismarck. So when I think of the term Prince of Wales, I just go back to that World War II battle.
Okay, Geek, your hands up.
All right, okay. So I got a couple things, but I'll just make them really quick to mention. We're in the middle of a National Hispanic Heritage Month, because that starts at September 15th and goes until October 15th. So it's just a reminder that's the sort of thing too. They started on September 15th because it was the National Hispanic Heritage Week for all the countries that were celebrating their independence. It was happening week, and they stretched it to the month. It's weird, I know. But also R.I.P. Shada Shakur. She passed away not too long ago. And my favorite quote from Shada Shakur is, "As far as I'm concerned, liberal is the most meaningless words in the dictionary. History has shown me that as long as some white middle class people can live high in the hall, take vacations in Europe, and send their children to private schools and reap the benefits of their white privileged skins, they are liberals. But when sorry, you're interrupting. But
let him finish.
When times get hard and money get tight, they pull off the liberal mask, and you're talking to Adolf Hitler. They feel sorry for the so-called underprivileged just as long as they can maintain their own privilege."
Yes.
I was going to say, for all the white folks here in the audience, that is Tupac's mom.
Yeah, Tupac's aunt. Godmom.
Oh, shit.
Tupac he came from a very smart family. He was a genius of a man.
Yes.
If you really listen to half of what he says, for a second, go "My man, you know what you're talking about."
Well, if you're Dan Quayle, or you're Tupac, he just likes that rap music is all about killing and causing problems.
I love Tupac Shakur's final words, because he was talking to the cop who asked him, "Who shot you?" All Tupac said is, "Fuck you." And
that's if you gotta go, all right,
that's it. I'm done.
Okay, Raphael, lessons. You're
okay. Here we go. I didn't come last month because my man was overwhelming. But going back all the way back before we started the show, somebody to talk about the title and all that, and how pigeonhole people are just to win an argument and maintain their position. Now, one of the running things is that, oh, by the way, Tylenol put a message saying, "Please don't take Tylenol while you're pregnant." And they're like, "Aha, we were right. It causes all these things." Dude, this is just boilerplate warning that don't take something unless your doctor tells you otherwise.
Right.
Read any bottle pill thing, and they'll tell you, don't do this, because they don't want to get sued.
Mm-hmm.
It might well be that you should not take Tylenol while you're pregnant, you as an individual. But then again, it might be I'm in pain. Well, either it's, the injection or the pill. What do you want? Just give me the pill, right? It's just so, but of course they just grab onto anything. And I think that's one of the things that are frustrating me seeing this is I knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I always refer back to Bush and to Clinton and Reagan and all those people, because this is something that's been going on for a while. But I'm frustrated by all the people that go, "Oh my God, this is new." No, this is the point when it hit you. This is the part of the poem when you went now they're talking about me. right?
Mm.
You know, you might have been concerned about the abuses in Iraq, you know, but it was in Iraq, not in the United States. You might have been concerned about what happens to Palestinians or what happens, you know, with BLM, but now it's up to you. Now you're panicking because it reached your personal shores. And I understand that. You know, it's very difficult to be eternally on with everybody, right? You be like, I feel for everyone. Because that you know, you will just consume yourself in worry and pain. Everyone is pain. But at the same time, do not act surprised that this is happening, because anybody paying attention should have known that the warning signs were there. It's just like I said, what the GOP has been trying to do for a very long time is drain the Rubicon, right? What they could do
The fact
overseas.
is, though, they weren't paying attention.
Yeah, that's the thing as
Right.
well. Now that it comes to their door knocking, you know, with a boot, or their neighbors, like, well, why is that guy kicking the door of my neighbor with, you know, with ice on his chest? I don't like that. That's bad. And I'm like, yeah, not only has that happened before in American history, including FDR, by the way, he did something very similar.
He's internment.
Yeah, it's and also kicking out Mexicans, and also had the Bracero program. It's complicated. I'm not going to go into the whole history. Yeah. The thing is that when you see the signs that's happening to other people, when we talk about how we support other people, support them, stand with them, right? Because if it doesn't, like the old poem says, if it happens to them, it's going to happen to you. Because ultimately, and the most perverse thing possible, this is like schoolyard rules. The bully picks the weakest victim because A, the bully's a coward. Two, the wicked victim is the one that they can get away with. But the third part is 2, 3C, I don't want to call it. They're signaling to everyone else, this is what happens when you mess with me. You know, if you don't like what's happening, you know, that's when you have to stand with the kid. That might be a little weirdo. You don't like him. You're uncomfortable. But remember, if you don't stand with them, there's nothing stopping from them to going after you next. So I mean, that's I think it's as frustrating, and feeling hopelessness is like, man, I wish I didn't. I wish, like Simic said, I wish I didn't know, right? I wish I just one morning I woke up and somebody's knocking at my door. It's like, oh, now it's happening to me, because there's a certain safety in not knowing as well, which is
I don't know if they don't want to know or they don't care to know.
They don't want to know. It's too scary.
I think it's more that.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
because how can you I mean, there's a lot of, like, and I can't speak for everybody, and I'm sure there are some people who are just so innocent that, you know, they honestly don't realize what's happening. But I think there's a lot of turning a blind eye, you know, especially when it comes to, like, mistreatment of minority groups in this country, because that is nothing new. That's been going on since the very beginning. And for, you know, a white person, a relatively privileged person, whatever they may be, to be reacting with, you know, shock, like, I can't believe they're doing this. Why would they do this? As if you're just now hearing about it. There's a lot of things that you're choosing not to learn more about. You know what I mean? You're choosing to look the other way.
This is the thing people need to get through their heads about bigotry. It's a package deal. You don't get to single out just one group and stop there. No, it ends up spreading to like 4 or 5 other groups, and then as many people as it can. And that's not to say that if we could only pick on trans people or immigrants or whatever and stop there, that it would be okay. It would still be wrong. But all these people who think like, oh, it's okay, we'll just go after them and I'll be safe. What? They're coming after me now? Why? Well, because you let them.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, my final point here, I think it's ultimately, especially for conservatives, they know that. And that's their biggest fear. You know, when they talk about the government, the government is so powerful. Like, you're not afraid of the government. You're afraid of not being in control of the government, right? You're not afraid of the police. That's why you have your guns. You're afraid the police will turn around and do to you what they've done to other people, right? That's why you want the guns, so you can feel safe that they'll never do that to you. Until, you know, it's 3 a.m, they, you know, shotguns on your face. You wake up and it's like, yeah, we know how to deal with our people. We don't give them a chance to fire.
Yeah. And that's, to go back to what Nick just said, that's the reason why there will always be another group to scapegoat, because that's the only justification they have for them remaining in power, is because their governance historically doesn't really benefit people other than them. And even then it only benefits a small subgroup of their group.
A ever shrinking subgroup of that group.
Yeah. So they have to
Authoritarian
constantly
is
be
an
identifying new people to persecute and to blame and to quote unquote protect everybody from, because otherwise there's no reason for them to be in charge. But they have to be in charge.
Always requires an outgroup.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to say, when I was bullied at school, and it was horrendous, because I'm as I've said before, I'm slightly on the neurodivergent scale, so I was weird anyway. I mean, any girl who goes off reading and scribbling stories, mad stories about superheroes, is slightly weird in an all-girls school where you're supposed to be interested in boys and clothes and makeup. And they sent me does anyone know what this term being sent to Coventry is?
I don't think I've ever heard that.
That it means they don't talk to you. They don't talk to you unless they absolutely have to. And the only people, and they sent me to Coventry for 3 months. Best 3 months of my life. It kind of backfired because they thought, oh, we're making her lonely and invisible and unhappy. No, the teachers talked to me. The teachers talked to me. I was left alone. I could do what I wanted. Nobody tripped me up. Nobody put frogs in my bed. Nobody did anything horrible to me. It was wonderful. And they couldn't work out
Strange
why.
American in a Maryland hat telling you to move on.
Strange. Excuse me, sir.
I had a very similar experience going from Catholic school to regular public school when, like, legitimately the school that I was in was better, but I just could not get a good education because my fellow students were so classist that, like, the only thing that, like, was affecting me was the fact that I was poor and my fellow students were shitty to me because I was poor.
Yeah. I mean, it's fucking terrible whenever people discriminate against someone or look down on or think less of someone just because they're a member of a particular group. And it is just like fucking Catholics to do that. Jen, your hand is up.
Different
Coming
topic.
from a country that's 98% Catholic, that was never a thing.
Different topic, and I submitted this through the chat, but I might have submitted it to the wrong Ask Me Anything thread, about protesting and being part of the resistance. So for me, part of the issue is, and yes, I'm scared, a lot of us are scared, even those of us who are out there. Take for example James Comey. He's being wrongly prosecuted and he has the resources to fight back. Somebody like me who goes to a protest, gets mixed up in it, whatever, gets pulled off the street, I could lose everything. So it's a really momentous decision. It would be a momentous decision for me to, pack up and travel to Boston, because I live a couple hours from Boston, and go there and protest and get arrested. Depending on how the arrest went down, I might be absolutely screwed, which would screw my family. So what do you do? Like, what do? You either make a decision to put everything on the line, and what is the time that you do that? Like, at what point in this fight do you make that decision? This is something I've really been struggling with.
Yeah. Well, it's different for it's different for every person, you know, and I mean, and also there are other ways besides going to a street protest. I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, obviously that's important and that can make a difference. And I have nothing but admiration for people who are willing to go out there and possibly get arrested to make a point, or, to let, so that, because the street protest is a message sent to everybody. It's a message sent to all of to all of us who didn't go, to say, hey, you need to be paying attention to this. All of us who came here.
When I lived in the DC area, I'm from Maryland too. I'm from Montgomery County. I used to protest a lot back in DC.
So, but I mean,
the stakes weren't as high. Sorry, go ahead.
No, absolutely. I think, I mean, it definitely does feel different now than it would have.
Jump in just real quick. Go ahead. From my experience and being in Philly, and also growing up in Boston and going to protests since, God, friggin' 1994. And I would say like the big events, the No Kings, there's No Kings 2 coming up. Like
Yeah.
in general, I would say those as far as like, unless you're going to be doing something or getting, not separating yourself from an incident, those are large enough and they've got so many people working the protest, not law enforcement. I mean, people with the protest,
Yeah.
marshals, that you're going to be safe there for the most part. And I understand your concern because, like, I'm in an industry where if I'm even charged with a felony or convicted of a misdemeanor, I'm barred from doing what I do for a living. Period. Like,
Yeah.
so I have to be very careful about that. So
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but you can also then contribute to bail funds if you don't,
Yes.
want to.
yeah.
There's
I mean,
other.
Go ahead.
Well, there's I'm going to lower my hand because this is the point I was going to make as well too. Because like there are like for jail resources as well too. There are activist groups that will have like people just like right outside to like pick people up who had just been released to jail who were arrested at like protests for trumped up charges as well too. The bail relief fund or bail bond sort of things too. Even though sometimes when you're doing that sort of work, you can be charged up with RICO charges, like the people who in like Georgia for the Stop Cox City like a protest bill too, and that's Democrats that also were part of that as well
They're
too.
pushing for that now, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But so I wish I could like give more answers. I guess I can. I remember reading Direct Action Ethnography by David Graeber. There's a lot of talk of that David Graeber witnessed when he was like with like Direct Action Network of New York Dan, and how they would also like set up like a red zone and a green zone and yellow zone for like people with certain like threat thresholds as well too. Those with high threat thresholds, they don't mind being arrested for being like a brick throwing anarchist as long as that they'll be in the red zones as well too. But then they'll like they cordon off for like the back of the line will be the green zone for people who like can't risk like being arrested as well too. So that's definitely that. But yep,
I would also say that there's just other organizations as well, not just like bail funds as well, but there are, and not just like one other thing that they're trying to do is tear down civil society.
I know.
Like just keep going to those things that you've been going to. That's another, not like protest necessarily, but just organizations, like just your own network of stuff that's not necessarily pushing back directly, but like libraries, those kinds of things. Just keep supporting those institutions as well.
Yeah, I actually mostly just blog and stuff like that now because due to a physical disability and my autism, I can't just pack up the car, go to Boston for a couple days and put myself, I just can't. The stress level and the physical stress, I can't do it. But I mostly just write. But I was curious about that because I'm like, oh, so-and-so's being sued. They can fight back. Great. What if it's me? Kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the fact that you're even concerned about it shows that, you're way ahead of a lot of other people in this country, unfortunately, just what we were just talking about, people who are, still trying to just act like everything's okay or at least that it doesn't affect them. Yeah.
Like I said, if I had the money and if the UK could see, I'm not criticizing you guys, I'm not criticizing you guys, but the USA is a dangerous fascist state, like Germany.
It absolutely
is. And
is.
if I could say to one person in the chat, I can offer you £20,000, I will go to the British government and they will give you refugee status. If you want to flee here, I will pay for your ticket for you to come here. If they would accept it, it'd be great, but they don't. They don't. We're so busy trying to, what's the phrase? It's not pacify, that's the word. Pacify the bully that is Trump, to keep him on side, to stop him going apeshit. That we don't see the danger, or I don't think we do.
Some European countries are actually have changed America's status, though, to an unsafe country.
Oh, yeah.
And they should. They well should.
Yeah, we get travel advisories now.
Oh,
I don't know any Irish people.
But also
I will be the first to tell everyone to stay away.
Like I said, we're getting a small amount of money from my mum's estate, finally. And my husband said before this Canadian was arrested and before an English woman was arrested, we'd actually talked about visiting the United States because I'd always wanted to visit Disneyland again. And sort of when the news came down the wire, my husband looked at me and said, when we get this money, not a chance. Not a chance. I wouldn't go there if you paid me, if you bought me the tickets and sent them through the door.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Well,
want
as
to
an
come here
American
either.
within the States, I'm picking where I go if I'm traveling. I'm not going to Florida, for instance.
Yeah.
Personal note. Well, close to personal note. I have a friend of mine who is gay. He's married. He used to live in Arizona, and then he moved to Michigan. I won't name him because I don't want to put him in a spot, of
No.
course.
Yeah.
But the reason why he told me was like, hey, you moved to Michigan. I lived in Michigan for a while. It's like, yeah, we live in Michigan because we're close to the Canadian border, just in case.
Which is a completely valid reason.
That's the kind of planning. I know I said talked about, owning a firearm. That'll be problematic, in many other ways. I say.
Yeah.
And because some people are making preparations for the worst in their neighborhood, right? They're like you, they're trying to help. They're trying to stand on business, as people like to say today. And oh my God, my heart, I wish I could be with them, right, as well. Maybe because I get too angry and start switching, throwing punches and, or something like that. And that'd be the worst thing to do. That's what they want. Right. But I know people who are making reparations. My mom, I said, I'm pro-independence in Puerto Rico. Again, the political picture is complicated, but my mom was harassed all her life because she used to work in government. And, there were political parties. It's like, oh, you don't belong to these two other political parties. Even though she was a hard worker, the best at her job, which is the only thing that saved her, she kept it. But she was constantly harassed, right? You have people who are connected to the police who would call to my mom's house and, say, oh, do the heavy breathing and all the nasty stuff people used to do over the phone to harass her. And my mom was like, screw you, I don't care. But it still affected her, right? So
Yeah, of course.
I do have a taste of what is going on right now as well from my personal life.
Yeah.
Even though many of my fellow Puerto Ricans don't see it, and even if I talk about it, they go like, "Nah, that never happened." Like, yeah, it did. Yeah. So
I was just going to say briefly.
The worst one.
Hang on. Let Sean.
It doesn't really matter.
Sorry, I was just going to say briefly. There's a great scene of Emily in The Handmaid's Tale if you watched it, and she's going to the airport to get the hell out of Dodge, and she gets to the airport with her Canadian wife and her Canadian kid. And of course, they say, sorry, we don't recognize same-sex marriage anymore. So they left the other two go because they're Canadian citizens, and she just gets trapped and becomes a handmaid.
That's right. Yeah.
It's fairly harrowing, but it's
from early in the series, right? Yeah.
It's getting ridiculously close to real life.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nick, you have your hand up. So
Yeah,
go
Nick,
ahead.
go for it.
Oh, okay. Lower hand. Okay. Trying to remember what I wanted to say. I wrote it down. Okay. So, firstly, the new trailer for the next Avatar movie came out, and
yes. The Blue People movie.
What I can't stand, what makes me cringe the most anytime anything about these movies comes out, is if people bringing up the freaking nerd things and accusing these movies of bestiality. Because they think every time they, bond with an animal or whatever, that they're literally having sex with. They think that the hair thingies are the Navi's genitals. I'm like, really? How do they think that works? Do they think that, like, Navi babies just violently explode out of the back of their mother's heads like some out of Alien? Like, no, obviously they have normal reproductive organs, down there like we do.
They had sex in the first movie.
No, that's just
movie.
Okay, let him finish.
I'm sorry.
People really thought it was the head thingies. And so now, like, I don't think I think I can bring this up because the trailer spoiled it. Apparently, the human kid who tags along with them is his mask is going to be broken and he's going to be suffocating. And then the planet mutates him so that he cannot survive on that world like the Navi. I'm like, oh, okay, that's really interesting. I wonder where they're going to go with that. And of course, And of course, people are being weird about the hair thingies again. I'm like, God damn it! Every time one of these movies comes out, I have to explain to people that it's not bestiality.
Thinking about the hair thingies.
I have a problem with the Avatar movies because I know what Cameron is trying to do with them. But the problem is it has a lot of those tropes like the interpreter. Like we need a human to come in and tell us what it is to be in the society, right?
Yeah, the white man savior, the white savior complex.
Stuff like that. And there's a couple of tropes. And there are reasons, one would say positive reasons to do this. Like we don't understand the society. Having someone who can translate for it is helpful. But the problem is, it becomes a white savior thing. It becomes like the main character is a translator who figures out everything, tells the locals how to fight the enemy and win. It's like, glad you're on our side, dude. But there's like a million of us, and you're just one. So just stand in line with everybody else, grab a spear, and let's go. Okay, you're willing,
Yeah.
let's go. But you're not gonna save us all. Okay, so
No,
don't do
look,
that.
my problem with the Jake Sully character is that he gave Quaritch and the RDA people all the intel that they used to take down that freaking tree, and they just forgave him for all that. He had a big part in that. But whatever. I'm still interested in these
Nick,
movies.
it's all right.
Sorry,
Nick,
guys.
do you think
Let
a better movie?
Let him finish. He wasn't done
Like
yet.
the other conversation that always comes up with these movies that bugs me every time is when people say, well, you know what, it's okay to enjoy the visuals. At least they're pretty, but let's not pretend the characters are story or anything. I'm like, no, enough with that shit. I actually like the story and characters mostly. Like, yeah, they're a bit simple in the way that, like, you know, ancient like mythology and you know, Greek pantheon figures and whatever are. But I don't understand how like a little simple is bad. I understand if people say, "Oh, I've seen this movie a bazillion times." I don't know. Maybe I haven't. My point is, this isn't a guilty pleasure thing for me. I actually think these are legitimately good, even though they have their problems. And I'm sick of like being demeaned by people who are like, "Oh, I'm above this. My tastes are so much more refined than this. You'd have to be an idiot to enjoy this." I'm like, whatever.
Well, especially since
Exactly, whatever.
well, I mean, like what movie? If you ask them what their favorite movies are, I guarantee you, it's there's something on that list that's just as whatever they think of Avatar. There's something on their list that you think exactly the same thing about. Like nobody's hands. Nobody's hands are completely clean.
Snyder fan.
Like, yeah.
Oh my God! Yes, that's the worst. The fucking who think that like Zack Snyder invented movies in like 2013. I'm like, what?
I'm not even. I know
Go
a
ahead.
lot of people hate. A lot of people don't like Armageddon, but Armageddon is funny and goofy as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Last thing, completely unrelated to anything else I want to bring up. It has to do with autism. People act like, oh, we're some new thing. No, we just didn't know what to call it a little over a century ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like Schrodinger's autist. That's what I call this phenomenon, where people think if you just don't call somebody autistic, then they magically aren't, even though you can clearly see it in all their behaviors. Like everybody has that one 80-year-old aunt who has a collection of like 1,600 bottle caps, and they think it's just quirky. No, she's autistic. You know, it's genetic. If you're autistic, one of your parents was autistic. And age can also be a part of it, like the age of the father. But look back at history. Look at all the nuns and monks. You know, they have a lifestyle of strict routine, you know, repetition. It's quiet. They can go long stretches of time without saying a word. They're kind of rewarded for that. They're rewarded for being good with animals, and autistic people are often better with animals than they are with other humans. It's like low sensory input, little socialization. What kind of person do you think would be attracted to a life like that?
Yeah. Think of Julian of Norwich, she was actually walled up. Her food was passed through a hole in the wall. And apparently Hildegard of Bingen spent I think a good part, about 4 or 5 years with someone like her in Anchorite. Now she wasn't autistic. This is a woman who saw visions. Hildegard of Bingen saw visions. These two people strike me as being very, very autistic. Yeah. And the one thing I got from my aunt growing up was when I would sit in a corner and read or scribble or just write, could you try? And my mum said, she's just, we think she might be on the scale, but she's all right. She's functioning. And my aunt came over to me one day, put her arm around me and said, can you try not to be so different?
Oh, Jesus.
Have you tried not being a mutant?
Yeah. Have you tried not being neurodivergent? Have you tried engaging with people?
But please speak German instead of Italian. Yeah.
It's like what I mean. I saw somebody use this analogy on social media last week, and I thought it was perfect. It's like for the idea of, well, you know, what we now define as autistic is something that
Mm.
has always been part of human nature. It's just we're coming to understand it in a way that we didn't before relatively recently. And someone used the example of like Galileo thought there were 4 moons of Jupiter. It turns out there's like 100. They didn't just and astronomers didn't just invent those. And they didn't just come into existence, you know, like they've always been there. We just couldn't see them until, you know, observation techniques improved and technology improved. And now we know, oh, there's a hell of a lot more. I mean, when I was growing up, there were only 2 moons of Mars, and Mars is like right over there, astronomically speaking. Like it's our neighbor. And now we know there are more because they were always there. We just couldn't see them. So with autism and with any other sort of part of human nature or human behavior, it's probably not like a recent thing. It's just
you mean Mars, Steve? Because I know.
I mean, Jupiter, I think when we were kids, Steve had like 6. They said they had like 16 or something. Even then.
Also, keep in mind, like 115 years ago, what happened to autistic people? They'd be thrown in a loony bin and misdiagnosed as schizophrenic, and be like in a straitjacket, chained to a radiator,
or branded as witches.
Castrated.
Yeah.
That's what used to happen to
autistic
people. That's why you didn't hear about them back then.
Or in a different, if you just looked at it in, you know, for more mild cases, but still, you know, that were. Well, people just call it learning disabilities.
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder if we were more valuable, like in the caveman days, because you needed, you needed
My
us.
husband and I talk about that all the time.
We were the storytellers.
Yeah.
You know, you have to understand the stars to know when the harvest is, and since we don't do any of that stuff anymore, there's just no need for us anymore because we don't track stars for the harvest, I guess.
Yeah, it's like there's a wonderful Kipling, I think it's Kipling, when he talks about this storyteller who complains that you know, I think a god comes to visit him and he's sitting and he complains about how he's left out of the tribe and that they only come to see him when they need something. And the god turns and says, hang on, you get the best meat, the best bit of the elephant, you know, the trunk or the tusk, you get the best bit of the bison, all because you tell stories and you have no right to complain about the fact that you're living here on your own. You're living your best life and you want to be here. I mean, as Nick said, the monks and the nuns who kind of lived alone and could be in their cells sort of worshipping God and sort of contemplating the universe probably had the best attitude. They had weird penitentials, but they had the best attitude.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, your hand's up.
I decided to put my hand up because we had somebody had brought up the Tylenol thing again, and he had moved off the actual Tylenol portion of that. Like, oh no, I had a thing. But what do you call it? The thing that annoys me so much about the Tylenol thing is Tylenol is terrible. It's like a just over sugar pill pain reliever. It is ridiculously easy to overdose on, both because it is ineffective and it has a low overdose rate. And the only thing that redeems it is it doesn't negatively affect pregnant people in the way that almost every other fever reliever does.
I wouldn't say it's ineffective. It's more about loosening you up. It's an anti-inflammatory. So if you've got a sports injury, a bad knee or something, I used to play rugby. I was living off the things because I'd be walking kind of funny like a robot and couldn't turn my neck for a week after a match. So it wasn't so much about the pain; it was just about loosening you up so you were able to function properly, more than the pain relief. It didn't hide the pain.
A lot of that
is
the marketing of it, because it's not marketed as a thing you should take when you have inflammation. It's marketed as a general pain reliever. And
Yeah, I'm European. They don't advertise. Drugs on TV over here.
You're from a more civilized part of the world.
You can get name brand versions, but I just get off the shelf paracetamol. It just says the name of it.
I remember
it's not a brand name. It's just the cheapest one. It does the same job.
Yeah.
The
thing is,
hang on. CMAC was trying to jump. Hang on. CMAC was trying to jump in. Go ahead.
Like we have they advertise prescription drugs on television here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
You're
aware
telling
of
me
that.
they
Yeah.
don't even advertise over-the-counter drugs. I
Oh,
didn't
they
realize
do.
that.
Yeah, things like Nitol and paracetamol and Lemsip and things. You know, cold and flu medicine, basic things. They do, but they don't. They don't really blam it in your face, American style. It's not like that.
I remember. I think it was
We do everything blam in your face.
It was like last year, maybe. I did a video that was like a satire of drug commercials, and I got a lot of comments from people from outside the United States who were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like they didn't even recognize what I was making fun of, because that just doesn't exist in their part of the world. Like the idea that there would be commercials for prescription drugs, like you said, Steve, like never mind like over the counter stuff, like why would there be a commercial to sell a prescription drug to a patient? You can't get it unless your doctor says you need it. But it doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't exist, outside of this country.
Yeah.
Well, if for some reason it was legal here, there'd be war, because the GPs, the doctors, would rightly be saying it's our job to prescribe medicine, not the company that's selling it.
Yeah.
Which is how it should be.
I remember when my mum had really bad restless legs most of her life. And I remember there was this advert on US television for 2 forms of restless leg syndrome. And one of them says, might induce strange dreams, but stops the restless legs. And I can remember my mum sitting in the doctor's office with an advocate actually saying, no, I want this one. The doctor saying, yes, but this one would be better. It won't cause a dream. I said, no, but this one's more effective. And I'm sitting in the corridor hearing these voices, and the doctor going, yes, but you must understand that, because she had a really good package, because my dad worked for NASA at the time. So she had a great package. And I can hear the voices, and the doctor goes, yes, well, these adverts aren't no longer. Yes, but I saw it on the television. Now, can you tell me it's wrong? And I can think, if you tried that in the UK, they'd look at you and go, look, I know you've seen this drug, but really and truly, this is a better drug for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because you saw it on TV doesn't mean you should be taking it.
There's a great advert.
Yeah, I've heard about these hyper sprays. I hear they're great. Give me one of those.
That's the whole point of
I'll
these
never
commercials
forget.
is not.
Where's your dermal regenerator?
The doctor still needs to give you a script, but they want you going into the doctor and haranguing them until they give you the prescription for this particular drug.
The only thing I've ever learned from these prescription drug commercials is which ones I do not want to take. So I'd go to the doctor and be like, if it's this condition, do not prescribe this medication. I won't take it. But I'm kind of a hardhead, so.
The example that I always go to, is there was like many years ago when they first started marketing Propecia, which is a pill that's supposed to treat baldness or hair loss.
Yeah.
They get to the end where they list all the side effects, and one of the warnings was
hair loss.
Yeah, wouldn't that be ironic? No, one of the warnings was pregnant people should not touch broken pills, and I thought. Okay, if it's a pill that like cures heart disease or something,
people who may become pregnant.
Yeah, that's right. People who may become aren't supposed to touch if it's a broken pill and you're pregnant or might become pregnant, you're not supposed to touch it. So, but the upside is it might make your hair grow back. And I'm sorry, the stakes aren't high enough for me there. It's like if it was a cure for cancer, okay, you know what? The upside is huge. It's really going to help people. So just be careful with the pills. But if like the best case scenario is your hair might grow back, let's just leave this over here. We don't need to be putting.
Does anyone remember that? Yeah. Does anyone remember the film Foul Play? I know Chevy Chase is a bit of a horrible. Well, there's this wonderful advert halfway through, and I remember it from being in the US, and it's kind of stuck with me. It's for hemorrhoids. After she killed the guy, or she stabbed him with her knitting needles, after going on, there's this advert that comes on, and I can remember it's for hemorrhoids, and I can still hear the tune in my head, and no, I'm not singing it. It's like plop plop fizz fizz. Oh, what a relief it is!
Oh yeah,
and it's for hemorrhoids.
Rolaids, wasn't it? No, yeah.
Alka-Seltzer was plop plop fizz fizz. Yeah.
And I remember, and it stuck with me for years. for years after I left the United States and moved back to the UK. And it was just one of those things that it's almost as bad as the Jolly Green Giant one. And
that was good.
Yeah. And James and I used to sit in front of the telly, or rather, Mum used to plonk us in front of the telly while she cooked. Because even living in Boston, it was fun, but it was a little bit weird at the same time. I mean, there were weird people. I must be the only. I tell you, I attract weird people. I must be the only person who walks up the Charles River when my dad and my brother are sculling up it, and I meet the only flasher in Boston.
Well, probably not the only flasher.
The Boston flasher.
who decides that a 14-year-old is the best person to flash himself to, and I think I did the most sensible thing I could at the time. I didn't run away. I looked him up and down and said, "Is that it?" Because I had a brother and a father who had
the best response.
Is that it?
Yeah, I had a brother and a father who both undressed in front of me, so I knew what male anatomy looked like. Is that? And he looked dirty and unwashed and thin. Is that it?
To comment on the Boston jingle thing, though, to this day, I still remember the late 70s, and admittedly, I didn't see it at that point, but late 70s, early 80s ad for the New England Aquarium, which is in Boston, which featured a kid squealing, "I can walk like a penguin."
There's a local, since we're talking about commercials, we remember there's a local commercial for a go-kart track in the Washington D.C. area that used to run constantly on like the local the D.C. area channels that we watched around here, and it was and there was a tagline where they said, everybody has fun at this go-kart track. Everybody from your little brother to your slap happy grandpappy. And I'm going to remember that until I die. And it means nothing. It's just this dumb little piece of ephemera that's in my brain forever.
And as someone who grew up with
that, I have to recommend a documentary, which was an Action Park. It's about
I love that.
It was amazing. That was
good. That's a great movie.
Patrick has been sitting very patiently for about a half hour, and we're pushing in on 1 o'clock.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Julian. Okay,
just briefly going to mention Inside Out and that double mint gum. They run through the whole film. Every so often they just throw the ball in to make it appear back in the consciousness again.
Okay, Patrick, go ahead.
Okay, Patrick, as Julian said, your hand's been up for forever, so go for it.
Good afternoon, all. I know some of the show kind of is a little bit problematic, but does anyone have fond memories of Babylon 5? There's this episode I especially like where a fellow thinks he's King Arthur, and turns out he kind of blames himself for sparking the war with the Minbari, almost wiped out the human race. And when I think about it later, it almost reminds me of Emperor Norton, because it's like, well, maybe he's crazy, but it gives his life meaning, and he kind of inspires the people around him. Because I remember even Jakar gives him the time of day when he could have every reason to just.
That was a beautiful episode.
Ignore this crazy
beautiful episode.
I think it was David Warner, wasn't it? Wasn't David Warner? He played the King Arthur guy.
I think it was Michael York.
Was it Michael York? I thought who was David Warner? David Warner did it.
The guy from Logan's Run. I'm blanking now.
I forget.
Yeah, that was Michael York.
Warner was
Logan's
the,
Run guy is Michael.
Was the Klingon Chancellor Gorkin?
Yeah, in like Star Trek.
Yeah, in Star Trek. Yeah, David Warner was a ton of people in Star Trek.
He was Star Trek 5 as Sinjin as well.
Yeah, and he was the human ambassador in the Chain of Command.
Golmaset,
Golmaset, that's it. That's the one I couldn't remember.
My favorite one of my favorite TNG episodes. You know what? It's funny. Like
61 minutes for us to get to Star Trek.
Is that all?
That is weirdly long.
There's not a lot of Star Trek to talk about unless you want to complain about how brutally disappointing Strange New Worlds was this year.
Oh, you must be enjoying Khan though.
No, that's some kind of new.
It's okay.
I usually start positive on the shows as they come out and get more negative as I more think about them.
Yeah.
This one I just started negative. Boy, howdy, this was.
You know what I was? You know what it was? I was like the whole season. I was like Bart Simpson at Camp Krusty, Krusty is coming. Krusty is coming. Krusty is coming.
Oh.
I was like, there's going to be a good episode. There's going to be. They made 10 episodes. One of them's going to be good.
They didn't turn into Vulcans. They turned into space elves.
Steve, I have a question regarding sort of the King Arthur thing.
Yes.
I'm finishing up my book about King Arthur, and I've used a lot of references from sort of past and sort of present, the fact that we use King Arthur as a kind of touchstone. And I listened to yours and Jason's broadcast about Excalibur, which I found fascinating and really interesting, and I wanted your permission to reference it in my book.
Oh, of course. Yes, you definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, I'll put it in the prologue. I can't send you a copy, or I could do. I could probably put the doc in the chat here, and you could, or the Google Docs, something like that.
No,
so you could read it.
I have no problem with you referencing it. No, of course not.
Because I reference quite a lot of things, and the fact that King Arthur is a major touchstone for British culture, almost like Robin Hood, really. The fact that every male child, firstborn, has had Arthur as part of their name. Our king, his firstborn, probably his firstborn. Arthur runs through. I mean, there was a standing joke that he'd be called King Arthur II when he came to the throne. He always said he didn't want to be called Charles because Charles had been executed, and it didn't set it.
Right.
But so he said, okay, so what's he going to be then? Philip? Because he's Charles Philip Arthur George. He said he might be called George IV. No, George V. No, he'd be George VII, wouldn't he? I'm never good with kings and monarchs. They're there. Go away now.
Yeah.
We know you're wealthy. Just go away.
Mean,
so
I always kind of. I mean, I don't know from experience because I've never lived there. But I mean, I always kind of assumed that King Arthur was even more fundamental to British culture than Robin Hood. You know what I mean? Because I think the story's been around longer, and also, like you said, I mean, it's almost part of this sort of mythical like creation story of Britain, or at least of the monarchy and of like the modern concept.
Plus the fact that
Britain.
If you look at, and I mean, I know I get obsessive about this, so I'll try not to. I'll try to do it very quickly. When you look at the story of William Marshall, which I think I've told you about, the Middle Ages, Henry II and that era, they didn't look at King Arthur the way we do. They didn't see it as story and legend and myth. They saw it as history. As we will look back on Trump and see Trump as history. It won't be nice history, but we'll look back and think, this is what the bastard actually did. Right. This is what he did. This is the record we have of it. But they saw King Arthur as history. So when the Marshal was accused of liaising with the king's wife, people said, oh, it's just like Lancelot and Guinevere because Marshal was the bestest knight.
Right.
So they kind of said, oh, this is a parallel.
Yeah.
I personally don't think it's true, because the French king turned around and said, well, if you're going to leave the young king service, I'll give you service in my court. And a king of a country doesn't do that if you've been accused of that kind of thing.
Okay, Isaiah.
Yeah.
Isaiah.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah.
Oh, let me give you permission here, and then you surely can.
I wanted to share one of my models that I just finished.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, you should be able to now. Go for it.
Okay. So this is my USS Tallahassee model that I made. Can you guys see it?
We're waiting for it
loading.
to.
We will.
It's
It'll,
loading
as soon
fast
as,
to
there
catch
it
up.
is.
There it is. There
Oh,
it is.
wow, that is beautiful.
Yay.
That looks. I love the rainbow lights there.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Oh, I saw this on Blue Sky earlier. Okay.
Yeah,
I saw you bringing that up on camera earlier. I was like, that's gonna look cool when he shows it to us.
That is so cool, Isaiah.
I was kind of going for like a Star Trek Generations kind of like film feel to it, where it's not like a model you would see on the TV show. It's like what you would see for like a feature film. So I kind of went a bit. I played with the lighting a little bit to make it to give it more weight. So I drilled out more windows than normal to kind of get like there's a lot of people like inside working on a ship like this. So here's another image.
Yeah, that looks really cool. I really,
That's
I mean,
beautiful.
the lighting, it just looks really good on it. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
it's
really nice
gorgeous.
effect.
Yeah,
Tallahassee.
it looks like, did you give it some lighting on the outside as well? Because they do that in the movies too. And it looks like you've captured that effect.
Okay,
Mhm.
so yeah, I put some fiber optics in the nacelle light.
Yeah, I can see.
But
That
that
is so pretty.
thank you. But that red glow right there that you see, that's from the impulse engines like backlighting
Nice.
the
Oh,
cells
okay.
on the pylons.
Right. Yeah, so
Very
yeah, like so
cool.
like on it's on the like the back of the saucer, basically.
Yeah.
That's where the red light's
So
coming from. Yeah.
yeah, I drilled out all the holes for the windows. These are the navigation lights here.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So when I write my fan fiction stories, I always like to have a ship accomplished like accommodating it. So yeah.
That's
I
really cool,
Really
man.
well done.
That's
That
really
is
neat,
something
Isaiah.
else.
Yeah. So the
Thanks
next
for
thing,
sharing that.
Isaiah, is we want to see it flying around your room.
So work on anti-grav.
And
Yeah, make it a working ship if you could.
Yeah.
And to be funny, I have a lot of people tell me I should start building these to sell, which Steve, I know you said you
Yeah.
like the Atlantis space shuttle. Would you want me
Yeah.
to model ships that I can give you, that I can sell to you? Would you like that?
Oh man, I mean let's hold off on that. I don't really have I'm not really like, collecting models at the moment, but that's a nice thought. But no, that's like I think I actually I don't know if somebody brought up the Excelsior class in the last Ask Away and I made fun of it. And now I'm like, look, it's like the best looking Excelsior ship model I've ever seen. Like
It's a
it
really
looks so
nice
much
model.
cooler. It looks so much cooler than they ever looked on screen.
I wanted to give like a feature film,
Yeah.
like a feature film like feel to it, which is why I made it so like unique. Like
Yeah.
this is something you would actually see on like Star Trek Generations or something. So
Yeah.
I wanted to keep that feel in it because I know like me and Steve disagree with like how that film looks, but I really think it's one of the most like striking Star Trek films from a visual perspective. So I really like Generations, even though I've watched it like recently, and I agree, Steve, the story is a bit weak. It's definitely a very weak story, but I do like what they did with the sets and things like that. So
Yeah, well, I think we've talked about that before. Like we also agree that like the lighting treatments that they give, like specifically the Enterprise sets, for the most part, I really like because it's it's much more dramatic lighting than they ever were able to give it on TV, where it was all just the flat sort of TV lighting. Now all of a sudden it's like
basically just took the existing sets and redressed them for the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they did impressive work given what they had.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
You can tell they were very cheap making that movie. Like the Enterprise B model, they already had it. All the sets they already had. The Amargosa Observatory was just that bridge they used for everything. Just gussied up.
Yeah.
Even the exploding bird of prey was a reused shot from the previous film. Like they really made it for the change in their back pocket.
And they did the same thing with 6 too. There were a bunch of those, the Enterprise interiors for Star Trek 6 that were just repurposed, redressed TNG sets.
Tin Ford was the president's office.
The president's office, and you could tell the corridors were just the TNG corridors that had been shrunk a little bit. They pushed the sides in and put, the piping up on top to cover the fact that, it didn't really have a ceiling. But the thing is, if they hadn't done that, they probably wouldn't have been able to make the movie.
Before I call it for this time, I also have something to share on camera.
Go for it. Go for it.
Is mine actually? It looks like mine's frozen.
No, you're good. We can see you.
Okay, we can
Probably
see.
just froze you on your end.
Oh, okay. So recently, I went to the Bangor Public Library and hung up about 20 of my pieces from my series in their stairwell, and they're going to be hanging up there for through the end of November. So hey, if anybody wants to stop by Bangor, Maine, at the Bangor Public Library, they can see them there. Just a couple of the pieces that I'm most proud of. I don't know. I don't know how much of it you can actually see or not.
Those are beautiful.
Oh, whoops! Dang it! Sorry, I just picked out a couple to show here. It's just of the character This is just of a giant crab
wow.
machine based on an arrow crab. Just more miscellaneous stuff. And this is the most recent piece that I finished. It was just within the last few weeks. So the idea is that these are the same species separated by about 100 million years. Like if they took the same path that whales and seals have, to get that bigger, more streamlined body type. So this is my conception of mermaids, basically. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to show those off.
It's really cool.
With everyone showing art, I kind of want to show something that I got done earlier this month.
Hey, my man!
Sick.
Nice.
Specifically, the reason why I got this is for the longest time, I was struggling over after I decided that I was going to get a tattoo, I had waited so long in life that I wanted it to be, but I couldn't think of anything special, or anything that I would definitely want for the rest of my life. The character that he is in that, and it actually says it in wording on the side, it's Charlie Chaplin's Little Tramp character, and it's a stamp. And I knew that for the rest of my life, I would love to have a terrible pun about tattoos as my first tattoo.
I am so.
It's a tramp stamp.
I am so angry.
I just figured that out.
I am so angry that you had to explain that. I am so angry at myself that I didn't pick up on that right away. That is beautiful.
Next month, I'm going to show you my octopuses. My knitted octopuses, or rather, as my husband calls them, and we have a laugh about this because, of course, I explained to him about, and he does understand a bit about this. Say, we know in the States, I could set up a little altar in the corner of my lounge, put my octopus on it, say it's Cthulhu, and offer prayers and sacrifices to him every morning if I wanted, and nobody could stop me. And he looked at me, gave this weird look, he said, yeah, you could do that in the States, love. I don't think you can do it here. I said, I don't see the problem. He said, and he does say, I really don't quite get it. I said, well, it's basically, you can worship whatever you like yourself. And if somebody else sort of looks at what you're doing and they kind of read the literature around whatever god you're worshipping and they come to it themselves, that's fine as well. What you can't do is go up to them in the street or on a public property, I believe, and force your beliefs down their throat. You cannot say you must believe in my god because my god is the right god.
Yeah. Anyway, we're ending the show as well too. So charity links.page. Please give money to Joanna Phoenix and Nasnako and Lyndon Quinn because they always fucking need money because we live on fucking capitalism, being crushed under capitalism, and and if you want to join in this shenanigans that we have right there, click the join button down below this video stream right now. You can join for as little as 99 cents a month and you can be a part of this sort of thing. First come from first serve as well too. You can also be a patron of the Shives as well too, and many other links downstairs as well too. Down in the description as well too. And
downstairs.
There we go. I think, yes, downstairs.
And I just want to point out to everybody. I mean, I do not pay some random geek to be my unofficial producer for the show and to do what they just did. I pay him. Yeah, exactly. That is how anti-capitalist you are. You flip it completely upside down. You flip it. You don't demand payment. You're like, I will pay you, and then I will also do the labor. I don't think that's ultimately the goal, but it's still,
I did it because
shows.
I want to. I did it because I want to.
It's free association. It's free association. Yes. So we will be back for one of these again in about a month. We do this on the last Sunday of every month. So as always. The 26th. Ooh, close to Halloween. Not quite, but close.
Exactly 4 weeks from now.
I'll let you know how things go with our move because I said I'm going to be in Communicado for a few weeks.
Good luck with the move. Yeah, good luck with the move.
Well, the only thing I'm worried
about. No, Kara.
Yes, let's not launch into an anecdote.
Let's you can tell us afterwards.
Yes. So I will hurry up and end the show, and then Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you for one of these again next month. Yeah. And thanks to everybody for being here. And thanks to everybody who watched, and everybody who's a patron and a member and a supporter, because I couldn't do it without you. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.